What's up, dudes? It's Josh, and I'm coming to you live from my freshly demoed renovation. We'll call it a demovation. Now, what was here was a disgustingly dated 90s bathtub and shower setup. I decided to take on this first part of the project myself because I felt like, hey, it's destroying stuff. I can do that. In this video, we'll go over how hard it was, how long it took, how much I might have saved, and some lessons learned that might help you out if you decide to do this yourself. So, let's go do some stuff. Here we go. Got a new door. Looks like murder. The first almost injury. Alright, that was easy. So that's our old Delta valve. We should start out by chipping around this, and we'll get this thing off first so I can go ahead and cap the lines so we don't have to worry about having the water off. First swing with a hammer.
I quickly found out that using a hammer was a terrible and useless idea, so I had to call in a tool more suited for the job.
Here we go. We're going to hammer setting. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm probably going to be terrible at it. We're going to see what happens though.
So this is called a rotary hammer, even though it's not rotoring right now. And it's basically like a jackhammer. It's got a little chisel tip that you put in the bit, and it's made for destroying these tiles. So you can see here how fast it does it over just using a regular hammer.
Alright, there's a piece. Maybe I just need to pry off of the actual wall, you know? I mean, pretty much I'm taking the drywall with it, right? Alright guys, don't you think we should screw this into the wall, or maybe some blocking through the screw holes that were provided? Nah, we'll be fine. We'll just put some random copper things on it, wires, and that'll keep it in place real good.
So what I want to show here is what I learned works best when using this rotary hammer. When you're trying to chisel out sections of tile, treat them just like that, a section. What I'm learning here, what I'm doing here is just chipping the tiles off the wall, and that's not what you should do. You should instead jam this thing in so it cuts all the way through the tile and the material under it, in this case drywall, and then you chisel out like a section, and then you can pull out the sections whole pieces at a time. It's way faster and easier to deal with.
Oh, it's hanging up at the corner.
Here's a more cleanly shot example, just cutting exactly around the perimeter of the tile through the drywall, and you'll know when you hit a stud because the whole thing will vibrate. You just punch through, and it's going to allow me to take off the entire thing using a crowbar and a hammer, prying off the studs. The whole thing can come off. So this is major for cleanup. The other thing I want to show here is when you're chiseling against a block, it actually doesn't work hardly at all.
If I get this piece out, one piece, that'd be great. Oh yeah. Oh, it's because it's all wood. See that? It's just a big block of wood.
So here's an area that set me back because of that. I was trying to chisel through this front piece and it just wouldn't go because it's a solid block of wood and framing underneath it. And I could not figure out why I was having such a hard time. So bring out the next crucial tool, a Sawzall. Anything that's wood, just cut it because it makes it come out easier. And that saved me some time on this. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage of that wall coming out, but it was due to the saw that was able to come out. It's pretty easy. Here's another thing that took me many hours to figure out. This tub drain would not come out. You can see where I've just completely destroyed it with everything I had. And this is the method that worked, using a heat gun to heat up and melt that plumber's putty. And then
took these, stuck those down in there, and then took channel locks.
That was the magic sauce that got it out. I'm sure there's other methods online, but this is what worked for me.
And that did it. I was worried about that. Okay. There we go.
And with that tub drain broke free, I could finally start taking on this fiberglass tub. So it's fiberglass. Just get a good new blade on your Sawzall, and it cuts quite easily, and then you're going to break it apart. Now, all around the tub, you're going to find framing, wood blocking back there to hold it in, so you're going to need to cut that as well. And one of the tougher things to cut on the bottom side of this are those pipes you see. You just got to cut through them. That's the pipes used to circulate the water. It's a good idea to have a good shop vac to suck up all those flying bits of fiberglass that go everywhere. I got a little smarter here in my second cut and used the saw in conjunction with the shop vac to suck it up as I'm cutting it. So in the second cut, it was really obvious that I wasn't cutting all the way through, and I tried to pop it apart, but it wouldn't for some reason. So I went ahead and took loose the motor.
The motor's free.
And I was able to flip over the tub. You can see why I didn't cut through it.
Alright. Well, ended up chopping it into 3 pieces. There's the last one. The hardest part were those bottom little sled pieces.
Now it's time to talk about getting loose all this framing that's holding up the plumbing in the tub. You need a good crowbar and hammer to get that loose. I would suggest a flat bar as well as a rounded bar. So now I was finally able to take a look at that plumbing I was wondering about. I was planning on capping it, but once I removed the pipes, I found out the plumbing repair had been completed below the flooring. Not good, but at least it wasn't leaking. That'll be another video.
Alright, this is the last video of the shower here. We're about to demo it. But yeah, we gotta take out all this stuff, undo the plumbing so we don't, blast the plumbing while we're in there. Take out this light, and then we can start hammering stuff. It's almost wanting to come out, but I think it'd be easier just to unscrew it.
So this is a good cross section to see what you're up against in the shower. What you got is a layer of backer board and thin set that you're going to have to punch through. And this is the top of the shower, and all that stuff is extremely heavy with the tile as well, so I did not want to risk that falling on my head and killing me as I was getting out. So I did our patented drill or hammer around the outside perimeter of it to get that top ceiling loose. That was my first priority, was to get that down while not being in the shower.
Well, it's harder than I thought.
Ended up cutting some of the framing of the doorway away to get it loose.
Maybe I could just go all the way with both of these.
So I'm using here is a long piece of pipe and a handle from an old tool, just something to get leverage.
Yeah, baby! That is what I didn't want to hit me in the head. Oh, hammered. There we go. Instantly. There we go. This one's it. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Ceiling done.
With the ceiling out of the way, started on the main shower walls, and we're using that same method again. You're punching through with tiles, the backer board and all the way through to draw a square around each one. Now these are heavy, so I used a smaller square. You can do whatever you want.
Straight as an arrow. Here's number one.
Kind of silly there, but if you have big tiles, this might be something to be concerned about. Maybe wear a helmet so you don't get knocked out.
I think I should have went with like the 3 or 4 inch wide paddle. Instead of this little one, it's killing me.
As you're doing this, also make sure you are paying attention to what might be behind the walls.
Yeah, this time I got plumbing behind there, so I gotta watch out. It's not coming from above.
What?
It's coming from below?
Huh?
Huh.
Like in that clip there, this is why you're doing the demo yourself. You get to find out stuff that you might have not known about what your project looks like. Yeah, sure, after it's all demoed by someone else, you might be able to look at the plumbing and see that, but I really thought the plumbing was coming from above, so it allowed me to kind of change my plans and figure out what I needed to do. So getting back to the demo, the rotary hammer is the absolute most crucial tool for this. It makes quick work out of punching through all this backer board and tile, no problem. And you're just using that same method of cutting out sections so they're more manageable to take out and remove from this. And you will not believe how much stuff comes out of your shower. It's crazy. In between a lot of this, I was just taking and stacking all these sections so I had a place to stand in the shower. Getting down to the bottom, it gets a little bit more messy because you've got these little pieces coming out. And once it's all demoed, this is pretty much what it looks like. And it has this blue liner thing at the bottom. And keep that in place for right now. And that's going to help you clean up later. And also note the snow shovel there, also helpful for scooping all that stuff out. This is also your opportunity to look for water damage. Here you can see a nail that jammed through and it's letting some water into that wood. And this is what is underneath the tile on the bottom. It's not backer board, it's this concrete stuff. And it breaks apart into little tiny particles like you see here. So your best bet is to try to keep the pieces as big as possible so you can carry them out easily. And then use that liner to wrap up all those little pieces. If you were wondering how the floor came out, the rotary hammer yet again pretty much makes mincemeat out of this flooring. Now, that might be a little bit different from you. You might have cement backer board underneath your flooring that this thing can also chip out. Mine was just on there with a little bit of thin set, so it came up super fast. And wrapping up, you're going to have so much garbage come out of your bathroom, you need somewhere to put it. I have a small utility trailer, so that proved very useful, but you could also rent a dumpster to put all this stuff in. It's crazy how much comes out. So summarizing here, it took me 4 days total to do all this. 2 for the shower and tub, 1 for drywall, and 1 for just cleaning everything. That included 3 dump trips throughout this whole thing, and the disposal fee on that was about $100 each time, but that did beat the cost of renting a dumpster in my case. The dumpster charged a base price and then an extra adder for each day, and I spread this out over a couple weeks, so that would have been way more expensive. And I got contractors to give me quotes for these things, and around 3 contractors gave me quotes of average around $1,000 for the demo portion only. So draw your own conclusions on, if that was worth it or not for you. Some were higher and some were lower. And finally, another thing that is not really talked about is I was able to take all that blocking out and framing that was used and repurpose that in the blocking of the new stuff that I'm putting in. So just another thing to think about as these prices of timber go up, some extra value in demoing yourself. And that's it for now. It definitely was hard work, but I see the value in it, and I would recommend this to someone who feels comfortable or confident in doing the things that just shown in the video. If you can do that, you can absolutely do this project, save yourself some money, learn about your renovation, and become more confident in your skills. There is going to be more to come on this renovation, but until next time, this is Josh saying, get out there and go do some stuff.